Not one.
You old salad tosser.
You salad eating salad tossers. Oh, there we go. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. We're back. Back from Vegas. Lochlin is back from a weekend of mourning the Edmonton Oilers, who are also out. We've got no Canadian teams in the Stanley
It's hard
Cup
to be
playoffs.
upset
We'll deal with
about
that today.
Performance.
Yeah. What,
Hard
your
to be
performance?
upset. It is. It really is. That team played spectacular. I think I was
Vegas or Edmonton, because if you say Edmonton and you're giving them credit for losing in 6, they didn't. They weren't that spectacular. That's my point.
No, they had a good run. They had a really good run. I think we got a situation right now where, I mean, comparatively speaking, you got a fan base that's disappointed in Edmonton, and rightfully so. There might be some frustration, but I think largely people that were tuning into that game, that matchup, realize that Vegas is going to go win the cup, and that we just watched the Stanley Cup final. Sometimes you get the Stanley Cup final in the Stanley Cup final. Sometimes you get it in the second round. We just watched it in the second round, and
you keep
those
telling
games
yourself
were
that.
close.
You keep telling yourself that you just watched what would have been the Stanley Cup final if it was Vegas on the other side and Edmonton on the other. You keep telling yourself. You are discounting what Florida has done to Boston, what they did to the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
So there's that. We've got a super boring Eastern Conference final and an almost equally boring Western Conference final.
I don't know.
I have no desire to watch
cheering for
any
the Kraken
playoff hockey anymore. If I'm going to hope for anybody, it'll be the Kraken and Dave Hackstall, who was forlorn as a coach and in a second-year team. Sure, it's a great story, but I don't care. I don't care. It was Canadian teams or bust. I thought this was the year. I really did. To the point where I'm on your radio show this morning. I'm on your radio show. You call me and you play this bit from your radio show. For all of you who don't know, my very good friend Lochlin Cross is Canada's greatest rock and roll radio host out of the city of Edmonton, 957cruisefm.ca. So he calls me this morning. He's like, hey, we're going to do a bit. We're going to do it's an old school radio bit. Naka, 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 naka. Like that kind of. I said, okay, well, what were we talking about? He's like, I'm going to play a clip. It's a clip of me guaranteeing.
We'll call you on the tip.
We'll call you on the phone. Guaranteeing that the Leafs and Oilers are going to win. It's going to be an all-Canadian Stanley Cup. And you were demure about it. Like you weren't an asshole when you made the prediction. But obviously it didn't come true. Out in the second round. And I felt badly for you. As collegial as this is, the endings for both teams were different. I still feel badly for you because the misery continues in Canada. The misery in Edmonton continues, which is, whatever. Fuck, it's Edmonton. I mean, you still got the best players in the universe. But you know what? I thought about it long and hard, right? What the problem is with both teams. They suck where it matters the most. They had no goaltending.
Yeah.
They had no depth.
Inconsistent goaltending.
They had
on both sides.
A bunch of soft players where you need players like, dude, look at the teams that are in the Stanley Cup final. They beat the shit out of you. Vegas is a heavy team to play against.
Hold on.
Carolina, heavy team. They play like Brindamore. And then you look at Florida. Florida's the same fucking thing. Tampa just ran out of gas. But
Vegas.
You know what I'm saying? Your team, my team, pussy teams. That's what they are.
No,
they're pussies.
No, again,
Absolutely are. They don't have the teams to do it. You got a couple of players with heart, but generally speaking, no goaltending and generally made up of
You didn't
pussies.
watch enough of that Edmonton-Vegas series.
That's true. Yeah, I'm just trying to get it right.
We have a tough team, and I think Toronto has an element of that as well, and I think they were attempting to try to fill that hole at the trade deadline here this year, and I think they gave themselves a couple of pieces moving forward. I think generally speaking, what ends up happening is there's always the hope that the referees are going to actually call hockey like they call it in the regular season and give guys like McDavid and Draisaitl and Nylander and Marner room to move. And then the playoffs start and they call it for the first couple of games and then they give up and then they just go, okay, you kill each other. So every year it's the same thing, right? And as the series progressed, Edmonton got fewer and fewer penalties. We kind of rely on our power play and our offset chances in the regular season to do as well as we did, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the two teams,
hold it, hang on just a second. Let me just ask you a question.
I told you from day one. Yeah. Both of these teams have very similar indeficiencies. And I think that both teams now will see what they need to do moving forward. Unfortunately, you live in Toronto, and I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to overreact, which will be fun to watch because your whole city is going to implode. And they're going to just fucking fire everybody. And then you guys are starting from scratch again, essentially. Whereas 100%. In Edmonton, they'll make a couple of changes, try to shore up the defense, try to shore up some, for the love of God, we got to get a fucking goaltender in the city that, that's not an economy.
Stuart Skinner's save percentage, 883. Not good enough. Not great.
No. Well, in Soup, basically,
and when he was the last nuclear option, you're like, just put like 883 in the first 2 games of a series. Dude, if you had a backup goaltender that was better than Jack Campbell, Stuart Skinner wouldn't have been playing. And we had goaltending issues too. I mean, Samsonov wasn't great.
He had some injuries.
He got injured. Well, he still wasn't great. Was okay in a couple of games in the first round. They have both teams have goaltending issues. It's the same thing. It doesn't. And they need goaltending. Like you need goaltending, we need goaltending. You need toughness, we need toughness. You need depth, we need depth. Yep. Both of those teams are so fucking top heavy that and you said this earlier, and we talked about it on the show. There is going to be a reckoning in the city of Toronto when it comes
Toronto
to
will overreact,
players.
which will be awesome.
But I truly believe you're going to see one of 2 things: Shanahan, Dubas gone. They're going to bring someone else in, a real hockey
Shanahan,
guy.
They'll keep Shanahan.
No. Here's the thing. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing Ken Holland might want out of Edmonton too. That was just what I heard. Connor McDavid.
Holland just took the president's job.
I know. I'm just joking. So my understanding is they're going to move
a new GM.
They're going to move. Yeah, I'm sure he will. They're going to move Brendan Shanahan into he's going to maintain this president's position. And then, or the GM, I don't know what, they're just going to ascend to some fucking weird title of super guy or something. And then they're going to move Dubas into the president of hockey operations because he's more of an operations guy. And they're going to bring in a new GM.
Oh, you think they'll bury Dubas?
I think so. I think they're going to
really. No, I actually think what I think they're going to do.
Operations. That's
what I think they are going to do is they're going to take Kyle Dubas, bring him. They're not going to tell him what's going on, and they're going to bring
take him to grade 12, let him finish high school.
No, they're going to take him to the rink when the ice is melted.
No, dude, he's a good GM. He did a good job.
In the city, they're going to go, all right, $5 a rock, and they're going to fill the arena, and you're going to get to throw rocks at Kyle Dubas.
No, he's a good dude, man. He did a great job. That was like a top 4 team in the NHL all year long. They just top heavy.
I like how you're saying that right now when they're literally someone is filling up a dump truck.
Wrong. That's all.
Someone's filling up a dump truck of manure right now and driving around Toronto trying to find his house. That's what's happening.
God, they are so mad here, dude. They are so mad in Toronto. Year after year, like when you get out of the first round for the first time in 6 years, right? 6 years. You've wasted the first 7 years of winning me the best player to ever play in this uniform.
I should be angry.
And they get punked.
I should be angry at least
in an embarrassing fashion. Why?
Because I lost $200 on this team. They kept losing at the wrong times.
Bets. You made spite bets. You made emotional spite bets, like Leafs losing in 7 in the first. They're down 3-0 in the second. You're like, I'm going to bet that
100 on them losing again in Game 7. $200.
You laugh, but I put 50 on it, so I lost $50 just to be an asshole too.
All right, you know what? Now that the playoffs are over, we can all start thinking about next year.
Yeah, and chastising. And moving on to other things, right? Like we're going to talk about a few things today. Our schedule is full. We are booked. I've moved on from the pandemic. I think it's just fucking, dude, I was in Vegas this weekend or last week on business. Not a mask. A couple people wearing them on the flight. I wasn't because I'm fine, vaccinated. I know the deal. I get it. I'm not being irresponsible. Personal choice. Don't feel the need. Super vaccinated. Everything's fine. Don't care. I don't want to have a conversation. Blah, 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 blah. Mask. Don't care. Do what you want. Have a great time. Don't want to wear one. Don't wear one. Don't care. And so I'm in Vegas.
My wife and I wear them on the plane. We wear them. We wear masks on the plane. I just,
you're a better man than me.
And you know why? I'll tell you. No, it's not. I'll tell you why. And this is, you can take this for what you want it. Take it or leave it. But every time I travel, I get hemorrhoids, cold sores, and I get a cold.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
And so I have a heater right here from flying the first time when I went down. Same thing.
That's why I brought it up, because I wanted to bring up the heater again, because it's very obvious you get another one. No, I'm dead serious.
And
I'm not even
when
kidding.
did I get the
the
last one? I've had 2 since I've known you. 2. And they've all been since I've
travel.
Exactly. Yeah. I accept the responsibility. I'm going to get off the plane with a heater. Totally get it.
We travel with masks now because and you know what? I stopped getting colds since we've been traveling during COVID, because we're masked up when we get on the plane, and both my wife and I, we pack masks and we travel with masks and we wear them on the plane now. We've traveled 2 or 3 times, and you know what? Glare at me all you want. Honestly, I think everyone should wear masks on those fucking things. It's just it's a tube with flying germs. Yeah. It's just a big fucking tube of germs. Right. And you're sitting there breathing everybody's ass particles and their cold particles. And then, right? Yeah. Why not put a little mask on?
Well, now this is a decent conversation, right? Look at us conversing. Oh, you wear one? Good. Yeah, I get heaters and I don't want a cold. And it's just a smart thing to do for me. Me and Deb do it when we fly. Great. Good. Did you hear me mock you? Ask for booster? No, don't care.
I would be okay if you mock me, but that's because you and I have that kind of relationship. But
this is still going on. Like there are still people running around getting crazy, like doing protests. Joining us on this program to talk about the latest, which now has led to an effort to boycott purchasing items at Canadian Tire. Please welcome to the program.
Why are we boycotting Canadian Tire?
Well, let's find out. Carymas, ladies and gentlemen. Here she is. Here she is. My very good friend.
I like Canadian Tire. Are you going to make me angry here?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
All right.
She's good.
There's no good reason for us to be boycotting Canadian Tire, if we're being perfectly honest.
Okay, good.
Yeah. She's being perfectly honest. She's repeated it twice.
Because people are ruining Bud Light for me, and now they're going to fucking ruin Canadian Tire. It's just been an awful month.
Yeah. Great to see you, Carymas. It's been a long time since we've chatted. I was in Vegas watching you do your thing, and much to my surprise, at the end of last week, you alerted people to a Fuck Trudeau rally at a Canadian Tire in Oakville. Is that my understanding?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, explain that to me if you can. Because this is still happening, by the way.
Well,
go ahead, Carymas.
So last week I came across a flyer that be congregating in the Canadian Tire parking lot in Oakville, and questioned whether there'd be a cover charge, and if so, will they accept Canadian Tire dollars? People were set off by this. Lots of tagging of whoever runs their social media was working overtime and into the wee hours of the distance itself, saying that their logo had been used, without authorization, and but it happened anyway, and that to people who were originally outraged, and that's what led to that Canadian Tire didn't do enough somehow to prevent this from basically what went down. There were a couple at most, some signs, some flags, degrees of disturbing messaging, and just so that's what everyone is so upset about.
Yeah. So, just to recap, this is one of Caryma's videos. Follow her at Caryma Rules. This stuff's still going on. Just to kind of recap what you said. Flyer goes out, and Caryma's one of those people when she sees a certain kind of flyer, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna show up to that."
Did they actually call it a Fuck Trudeau rally?
That's what
didn't
the flyer said. Nobody who attended the rally or admits to knowing where it came here, to my estimation, that has people to show up and that this is fairly to create and replicate, because it's up and it is no big deal. It's sort of versions of kind of rhetoric or constant.
Get her to put headphones in, Dean.
Do you have headphones, Caryma? Hang on just a sec. Do you have headphones, or can you put your headphones in it, or and maybe just switch to Chrome, because I think we're on Safari now. No big deal. We'll get you back in. Just go ahead and switch to Safari. I'm going to play a couple of videos while you're figuring out the tech. But this is what she was dealing with all weekend. Like she went to this rally. So the whole idea was a bunch of people decided to put a digital flyer. It's a fuck Trudeau rally. It's at a Canadian Tire. Canadian Tire had no idea.
What should we call the rally, everybody? I don't know.
You know, they show up with the fuck Trudeau flags. They show up with the same things, which I get a kick out of.
Oh, he's got a good horn, too.
That's a hell of a horn. And it was on, and the police showed up, and they had barbecues, and it was the same group of people.
Good
barbecue? I think they had hot dogs, maybe a couple of burgers, but like the cheap no-name burgers, the really thin ones that flare up with grease fires and stuff like that. No big deal. And for the first time in my life, I had a different reaction to that. Like very first time in my entire life, I had a different reaction to these people showing up to a fuck Trudeau rally at an unsanctioned parking lot, which the business said we really don't want these people there. We didn't sanction it. So they switched up the parking lot, went to the parking lot. No one admitted to actually putting out the flyer or organizing it, but everybody showed up. But my theory is this.
What's your first sign that it might not be a good idea? When nobody admits to organizing it.
When the finger pointing starts, and everybody's like, who did this? And they're like, I don't know.
It was Jerry, I think. Go talk to Jerry.
Yeah, and then Jerry's like, I think it was Shelley. And then Shelley's like, I'm pretty sure it's John. John's like, Bob did it. Like, when people start doing that, you know they're not there for great reasons. Dennis, that cocksucker, he did it. Him and his fucking Photoshop skills, they got us in trouble again. But my point is this. We've been conditioned over the past like 2 years, right? And hear me out, because this is going to sound weird coming from me, like really weird. Convoy aside, because a 3-week occupation and building fucking outhouses in the middle of Bank Street is not a protest. And it's also not a gathering. It's a fucking hooligan group of losers that got together to be assholes. That's it. Why are we so afraid of like 60 people showing up to a fucking empty parking lot on a Saturday night, getting together to be dicks all on their own, regardless of what they believe? Do you like this has been going on for hundreds of years, but over the past 3 years, we've been conditioned, and again, prepare me, to just hate these people, to just say, oh, they're not allowed to do that. Oh, it's an affront to me, even though it's hundreds of miles from me, thousands of miles from me, even though I wasn't there. Who gives a shit? Like, are we like, I mean, yeah, the bouncy castle for 3 weeks and the taking a dump on Parliament and all the, you know, the hangings and the fucking MOUs and all the, that's different. That was a fucking massive operation, that infrastructure, money, all that other stuff. These guys are just fucking community-minded people who all believe the same bullshit, who show up to the same bullshit convention in some bullshit parking lot every bullshit weekend. That's all this is. Why do we want the police to attend it? Like, why are we calling the police? Because that's what happened.
The police would probably be there anyway, even if it was a peaceful protest, or regardless of if it was something that we agreed with or disagreed with. It doesn't matter. The police are generally going to assemble just because it's, you know, just in case, right? So I don't think the police involvement is. I think the issue we have now is there seems to be this underlying philosophy that this division in our communities is somehow overtaking the and I think what's happened is I think we have realized we have, taking a step back, we've come to the conclusion that, oh yeah, these people were always there. They were always these numbers. They found a community. They found each other. It doesn't seem to be growing. It doesn't seem to be eking its way into the right.
Who gives a shit? Like, who
I think people do give a shit. I think we've we've stopped caring as much now because we realize it isn't as dangerous as maybe we thought it was. Is that fair?
I think no. And I'll tell you why, and I would disagree. It's because I'll tell you, this is and this is what I like it too. Flags, great. American, don't care. This is a movement that is diminutive. It is these people don't like a politician. They get together and rally around their hatred of a dude, and they're allowed to do that. They are fucking allowed to do that. 100% allowed to do that. They are also allowed to voice their opinion. They're also allowed to get together in parking lots and like normal people get together in parking lots.
And they're allowed to have a different opinion from you and I.
Totally. And like
you and I are allowed to have a different opinion, and we're allowed to do a podcast together
and talk about this, right? Absolutely. So I am not, in no way do I identify with how much of a loss of productivity that's going on in any of these videos and the fact that this is such a waste of time. And
this doesn't trigger me as much as it used to.
Disagree with everything these people are doing. However, what's the difference between this and a fucking classic car show at the same fucking Canadian Tire?
Well, there might be some crossover.
I'm telling you, just some flags. But because these people have the views they have, which a portion of society has been vilified for, and rightfully or wrongfully so, we get all bent out of shape and we say they can't do that. That is bullshit.
I think that's the biggest part of the problem. And I've been saying this for years. Rewind the tape. For the last 2.5 years, I've been saying you can't suppress this group. It's a wrong thing to do. You have to make them feel like they have a voice, even if you don't agree with them. Because if all you're doing is you're just giving them more fuel for their fire. And that was what I was concerned about. I think I was more triggered back in the day by these types of gatherings, because I was like, okay, we're somehow trying to censor this. We're somehow trying to stop this. All you're doing is proving the point they're trying to make when they're fucking gathering, and you're just increasing the potential numbers. And I'm like, stop doing that.
Well, and you're giving them a reason to be pissed off. Karima, you and I talked about that yesterday. Karima Rules is back at Karima Rules on Twitter. She's my favorite person. We were just talking about it, and it's almost like finally after 2 years, everybody's clued into how you've thought and felt and acted, which is these people have a right to be here.
Been handling it. She's been handling it beautifully and perfectly. With grace.
Yeah. Thank you, Lochlin. I tuned in long enough to kind of hear you on that point, and you're exactly right that suppressing speech is going to have effects. And what happened on Saturday is of the far right, if we term them that way, who are espouse blatant and open white supremacist views, who were mingling. And what has happened throughout with the convoy is that sorts of people find their way into the melee, and we use a broad stroke brush to say, these are undesirable people who should be shunned. It really primes them, I think, by people who are more predacious. So, an observation and a reason why hearing one another doesn't mean acquiescing, I think, to bad behavior. Have to be measured, and there's not a lot of that.
So what can I ask you something? You show up to the Canadian Tire rally. Were they, other than voicing their opinion, wearing flags, screaming "fuck Trudeau" and dancing and stuff like that? Were these people poorly behaved? Did you see any skullduggery? Did you see people doing things untoward that you wouldn't see, like, at a classic car rally? That was the example that I used yesterday when I was talking to Caryma, and the one I used on the show. I'm like, okay, well, hang on a second, because I was watching the incredible work that you did this weekend. Again, follow Caryma at Caryma Rules. The incredible work you did this weekend. It was like a light went on for a bunch of other people, and not just me. Other people too were like, oh, these people are just meeting and they all have similar outlooks and they're having a barbecue and they're standing around talking about common interests. Whether we agree with them or not doesn't make it illegal, right?
Gathering. I think that's a fair descriptor. It wasn't anything. I will say I still have an aversion to kind of like that. And the fact of congregating in the parking lot, Hannah is shut down for the evening, sort of in anticipation of this, what they're gathering. I'm not sure what intel or information they were working with that others didn't. Freedom of association is a really important civil liberty, and it's important even for people whose ideas we don't like, and maybe even especially we don't like, because that pendulum can shift really easily. Vigorous and dogged in protecting those rights. It has negative repercussions down the line to cherish.
Sometimes you find yourself grabbing the wrong end of the stick, right? Without even knowing it. And there's shit on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm in the shit end of the stick again. I didn't mean to be.
I wrote a piece this weekend and it was titled, "Why Are We Fighting Each Other for These Two Dorks?" And it was a picture of Polyev and it was a picture of Trudeau. And I was turned around over the past, I would say, 2-3 weeks. And Carymas' work is largely responsible for that. Obviously listening, trying to get out of your echo chamber, trying to understand what other people are saying. And while
it's funny how we've had her on for 2 years and you didn't listen to her.
I'm a slow learner. We've already established that. But
I heard you, Caryma. I heard you.
Here's where I'm at, is we need to make space for all kinds of assholes in society. I don't care where that asshole might be from, but from watching Caryma specifically over the past month go to trans rallies, book rallies, with drags time story people, watching people on, the savior left hurt others, spit on people, hurt her cameraman, and then to go back and think about the convoy, behaviors are exactly the same. And I've realized over time that not only do we need to listen to everybody, but we also need to call, it doesn't matter on what side of the equation they are, assholes. People who are here to hurt others, children, you, me, steal your paycheck, make you think something's wrong when it isn't. I mean, it is the same strategy from the losers on the left as is with the losers on the right. We have a loser problem. We have an asshole issue. We've got an IQ issue. However,
I hate it when you do that. I hate it when you do that.
I'm not done. I'm going to get into the minutia.
Hold on.
No, just let me finish the statement before, because you might not have to say anything and go, oh, no, we don't. From all stripes, we will have people that misrepresent the actual message that people are there to convey. I believe that happened during the convoy. I believe it happens with these rallies. And I think if we can separate the assholes from the people that are there going, I don't like the way my country's being run, as a legitimate conversation, because as much as I disagree with that rally at Canadian Tire, I can tell you this. I didn't see any illegality. I saw people gathering to get together to have a chat, and they weren't misrepresented. Do you like the flags? I don't care. Doesn't matter what you like or what you don't like. What's really important to know is that people with a difference of opinion are allowed to gather together and make their voices heard. And we have always been co-opted by the worst of the worst. That is not the worst. We can't paint them all with the same brush. You have to legitimately look at the people getting involved in these things, and you literally have to tell them they are absolutely allowed to have a voice. What they're not allowed to do is destroy your peace of mind or hurt you as a result. And it's the very few people.
That's where we agree.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so I'm glad you did come around there with some common ground. But I've always been a little bit twitchy when we've said that anybody that does these rallies or whatever is just is an idiot. Like,
I'm also of the opinion that protests and rallies are all terrible things to do. So like, that's where I come from, right?
But I think the bigger issue isn't sort of an intelligence issue. I think more of a victimhood issue. I mean, we have a victimhood problem in the world that we live in right now, where these people have found a way to get attention for co-opting a belief structure, and that's what a lot of them crave. And again, is there a through line there with the level of intelligence? I mean, quite possibly, but a lot of these people just aren't getting the attention that they need to suffice in the world that we live in, and they found this thing where hold on, if I go down there with a group of like-minded individuals and we wave this fuck Trudeau flag around, I get attention. And sometimes it's negative attention, but it's attention. Somebody's paying attention to me. And that's the bigger issue, I think, with a lot of these things. Isn't the message
the same thing for the same reason?
That's a good point. We have a victimhood issue on both sides of it.
Do we not, Caryma? I mean, you've seen this.
But I get people calling me out for playing the fucking middle now. Like, I mean, you can't fucking win, right? Like,
I know, dude. It's like you can't both. I got that all day yesterday. Like, I put out that piece, had hundreds of thousands of views, and like you're both sidesing it. I'm like, yeah, because I can clearly see it comes from both sides, dude. Like, and Caryma, you're there. Did you feel threatened at all yesterday? Like, here's a video you put out, by the way, this of you being threatened.
Play that video.
Yeah, dude, you got to see this video she put together. This is you and Joan Sharp. This is you standing at the rally.
I love this.
This is Caryma in the middle of it, because she's the only person with courage in media, if you ask me. This is Caryma in the middle of it, just fucking bopping around. Watch this.
Let me hear you sing it out. Freedom. Freedom.
Shouldn't be funny.
I love it so much. I don't know why. I love it so much. I don't know if I can't tell if it's just because of Caryma's face living amongst these people. But look at, they're dancing, they're having a good time. Again, you might not agree, like Joan Sharp here on the right, Caryma. But isn't this the whole point? Like, look at that.
You know what? The sad thing is that Grandma Bear had to film this video, and she wasn't able to pick Saskatoon berries this weekend because that took all weekend.
Yeah, it really did.
And you know what? The grandkids didn't get a pie because of her anger.
I know.
It's sad.
Go ahead, Caryma.
So I think that, a victimhood, it's a persecution complex. That's part of the equation. But the other half of the is a sense of powerlessness that runs very deep. And people can see and acknowledge that their quality of life, their living can climb. And no one really knows what to do about it, right? People sort of casting a vote at the ballot box. That's one way to see. But there are many who are dissatisfied with that viable alternatives that they are proposing, but nonetheless are on that a vote only goes so far as actually being a lead for public officials. So in light of that frustration of why is this happening to me kind of victimhood, that's where you get political dissent that are not palatable.
That's a good point.
That's a great point. Listen, I know you probably have an egg sandwich on the table where you're sitting at because you had to order.
You guys were talking about hockey.
Oh,
so thank you for that.
Sorry, we got carried away at the start. Awesome. There. I was going to bring you right in. Okay, so I know you've got a mayoral thing to go to. Is that correct? Is it you're on your way to?
That should be a shit show.
Yeah.
At the Daily Bread Food Bank today, 6 candidates were invited, marked the top 6. So I'm not going into around the parking lot to see if anything interesting takes place.
Okay. Chris Sky, is he in the top 6? Did he make the cut or did he not? No.
If you can imagine, of the 101 candidates, Chris, conspiracy.
There's 100,
right?
Oh, he didn't make the top 6.
We need some volunteers for the worst job in the world. All right, everybody.
I'm gonna put my hand up. My name's Chris. Caryma, as always,
100.
pleasure to watch you work this weekend. I would highly encourage everybody with a unbiased brain or the ability to try to manufacture.
You should be encouraging everybody to watch Caryma
at Caryma Rules.
Yeah.
Best, because that's where you can see sometimes change.
Yes. Well, listen,
you are beautiful.
Aren't you awesome?
I fucking love you, Caryma. I do.
Great.
And it's not because I'm drunk. It's other things too.
Appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. Have fun at the mayoral thing, fucking whatever it is. Talk to you soon. Caryma Rules, ladies and gentlemen, at Caryma Rules on Twitter is where you can find her. It's not just because I'm drunk, by the way. Little heater from Lochlin there. Just to fucking bring it home. I love you, and it's not just because I'm hammered. At 5 p.m.
Make that clear.
Actually 3 p.m.
It's 3 here
on a Tuesday in Edmonton. Can we get an update on the wildfires? How we doing? You guys all right? My friends in Alberta, you okay?
We're
right?
good. A couple of years ago, we had fires in BC.
Yeah.
And we had the smoke. Like Edmonton was brutal. It was so bad. Like every day it was just like, it was thick. The air was thick. So for about a month, we were dealing with that, if not more. This year, the fires are generally north, and I guess the winds or whatever, we're not really dealing with. We're not dealing with the smoke issue. I mean, you can feel it, but it's not pervasive, and it's actually, I think it gives you a sense of self-confidence about the situation you probably shouldn't have. Is that fair to say? Like I almost
it's visually right. You can't see it if you're in the city of Edmonton.
There have been moments where we've had like bad smoke in the city, but generally speaking, it's been pretty good. Like for how much the province is on fire, like it's crazy. It is crazy right now. And we're keeping up to date on the situation, locally, because there's been a couple of local fires, but the north is not good right now, man. It's not good. It's really
Fort McMurray. How's Fort McMurray? I know they took it in the face a couple years ago.
Prairie's bad. I don't know if Fort McMurray's. I don't know specifically. I can't give you areas. We just keep hearing town names like this town is in danger. Blah blah blah. Right. So it's generally the north of the province. There's a lot of fires right now. So, and I feel bad because a lot of families they overreact is the wrong word. They overprotect. Is that the right word? They're overly cautious when there's a fire close to a community and they go, okay, everybody, we're going to get you out. Now, that's the bigger issue in the communities right now that I've been seeing in the news.
Well, I was talking with a buddy of mine who's a journalist, and I can't mention him at the moment, but I will. And he was telling me that there are people in Alberta that are threatening to hunt down. Is this accurate?
Yeah.
Hunt down the real people who started the fires. They think that there is, am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah.
That there's a movement afoot in Alberta amongst, I don't know, UCP-ish kind of take back, like that kind of the take back Alberta group, to go and hunt down people they believe or a group that is responsible for starting these fires. So they're going behind the fires, looking for evidence, hunting for the arsonists. Is that correct? Am I hearing that right?
I've heard a little bit of that. I mean, again,
Like there are people hunting people who think are responsible for setting over 100 wildfires, like hunting. And
it's the same thing down in the States. Remember,
because hold it, but they've been told like that's so there's this conspiracy theory going around that is receiving a lot of attention in that province. People. And it's all driven from Facebook, and it's all these groups of people who are all involved or tied to, Take Back Alberta, Maverick Party, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I'm hoping that we can get Rob Parker from Take Back Alberta on the show to talk about some of these things because, hey, listen, with this new idea that I have in my head that everybody should be heard, I'm willing to listen to where that might have come from.
It's a unique position. Maybe I want someone on your podcast, someone really close to you.
Yeah.
With a bald head that drinks Bud Light. That may have mentioned that this was a good strategy about.
I think it's a great strategy.
Okay. So there is an element of that. And I
don't
know if we should give it any power.
No, of course we should. I want to know.
Really?
Dude. Yeah. Okay. What are you hearing?
I just hear that there is this underlying thought that that these fires are actually a strategy of the World Economic Forum and the NDP to disrupt the upcoming provincial election. And you can't even make that up.
I can't believe they figured out a way to make Klaus Schwab the villain of the Alberta wildfires.
Yeah, that they started them. Yeah. And again, I think we need to put it in perspective. It is a very small percentage of the population. That's why I was joking about Rachel Notley in her pantsuit running around in a Dodge Ram truck with a jerry can of gas starting fires to disrupt the so-called lead the UCP party has in the province, right?
Yeah. Listen,
we found a way to make everything political.
As a new evangelist on ultimate free speech, I am very excited to dig into that subject with Rob Parker from the Take Back Alberta movement.
So who is Rob Parker?
He is the son of religious missionaries, Christian pastor and missionaries, who was homeschooled his entire life. He's got a tremendous beard, looks like a great beard. And his goal, from my understanding, and this is the problem that Danielle Smith in your province is having, is that his goal is to, from the inside, to have a more extreme version of the UCP, managing the day-to-day. So he's loaded the school boards with very serious religious people who do the bidding of, his very serious religious ideology, which is extreme. And he believes Alberta should be a Christian province run by Christian people, and that is it. And hey, listen, he may be right. He might be right. I'm not here to tell him he's wrong. What I'm here to do is ask him these questions. Like, I want to know about his hold on the party. I want to know how he's been so successful, and I'd like to know who it was that went around with a book of matches to 100 different places in the province and lit all these fires on behalf of Klaus Schwab. Well, I find that to be an interesting subject.
Then the other thing is too, there's this underlying belief that that the fires aren't actually real, and that it's it's a form of control. So there's that philosophy. So there's a couple of layers here. There's the World Economic Forum. There's the NDP are doing it to disrupt the upcoming election and to cause chaos for the UCP candidates. And then there's also that other level. You know what? Can I say something? And I want this. I want people to hear this.
Do you want me to ISO you so it's like serious?
No, don't do that. Okay, do that. So I may have gotten a little bit of trouble for this, and I think the reason why I'm going to get away with it is because it was clear that I was being funny. But I said on the air last week that if you see somebody throw a cigarette butt out of their car in Alberta right now, legally you're allowed to run into them with your vehicle. That you won't be at fault. That's not true. Apparently, I am not allowed to suggest that kind of thing on the open airwaves. of a radio station that I may work for. So, but the sentiments is worth highlighting.
Yeah.
In that, if you see someone stupid enough, and I actually had somebody who heard me talk about that on the show, commented and said, I didn't ram into their car, Lochlin, but I wanted to let you know that I saw someone throw a cigarette butt out of a car, and I drove up beside them, and I rolled down my window, and I told them off. Listen, the entire province of Alberta right now is a tinderbox. It is so fucking dry. Like, it is a popcorn fart. You can feel it. It's unbelievably hot and unbelievably dry all over the whole province. And there are still people that think that they have the right to cook a fucking cow in the backyard on an open barbecue. Like, if you're like, I don't know what to say to those.
They don't want to be told what to do.
It is unbelievable.
I've realized that over the past 3 years. There is a very serious segment of Canadian society who really hates being told what to do. And they will do exactly what they want, regardless of what's going on around them, to the point where they will say, by the way, what you think is going on around me that prevents me from doing X isn't happening. I don't believe in it, and that's my reality, so fuck you. And I'm not pulling from any ideology here, right? Yeah. None. What I'm saying is that this country, this world is full of those people. And we have been catering to those people for I don't know how long, right? So we get what we get. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Edmonton, we had two major fires in neighborhoods, one in the north end and one in the south end, and both are rumored to be started by open pit fires at like midnight on Saturday, where they got out of hand, the wind picked up, and boom, they almost burnt down the entire neighborhood. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss now. Outside of jokingly saying on my radio show that you're allowed to run into them with your car if they throw a cigarette butt out the window.
Is it a joke, though?
That was a joke. Because that's what the lawyers told me I should hang my hat on. And if you play back the audio, Dean, play back the audio, you can hear the sarcasm
in your voice.
You can hear it. It's evident.
Right. No, I'd love to hear it. Pierre Poilievre said that the Liberal government started the fires in the House of Commons yesterday.
He did not say that.
Yeah.
Do you have audio of that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do. It's good. I'm gonna bring it up for you right now. So just so you know where it comes from. Oh yeah. Oh dude. Like, if you want to know where it comes from people who call themselves our leaders. Pierre Poilievre, conservative.
That was a good idea.
Yeah.
Making us look good there, PP.
Let me bring it up for you. Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's so hard for me now to say I you know how I talked about when I vote now, I don't hold my nose anymore. I puke up in my mouth. It's like
vomit in your mouth
honestly
and back down.
Because I've been conservative my whole life, but I'm actually at a point now where people think I'm full-blown liberal because I disagree so much with the conservative side of things. Like, that's where the shift has gone.
You know the passport thing? How he turned it into like, dude, I didn't even know Terry Fox was in my passport. I've had it for 10 years, and it's turned into a national tragedy. Let's watch that first, and then we'll get to the clip of him going, your government started the wildfires. Watch this.
Your passport. Why has Trudeau redone it to delete Terry Fox, who ran halfway across the country on one leg to fight cancer? Why did he delete the Vimy Memorial, which honors 3,598 soldiers who died? Why did he delete this beautiful war memorial, or even the Parliament buildings beyond it?
Freshen it up.
To answer that question, you need to get the country that Trudeau wants us to become.
Level of admiration I actually have for China. Because their basic dictatorship. Admiration I actually have for China. Because their basic dictatorship.
Or when he said,
yeah, so you take a bunch of stuff out of context, you wrap it up into a nice little package, and you just serve a steaming pile of shit to the guy, which is what his intention was. Let me remind everybody.
That was clearly a bad edit.
Oh, I mean, fuck, that was so bad.
Use AI.
He didn't even have a chance, dude. He just wanted to slap it together. So Canada, we talked about this on Friday when I was in Vegas. Canada tries to change its passport. They do it every 10 years, by the way. They do a redesign every 10 years.
They put a different picture in there?
Yeah, they put a bunch of different pictures and abstract pictures. So, like, I had no idea Terry Fox was in my passport, which is, like, right over here because I've been using it a lot recently. And when I saw that and I went to my them, I'm like, oh, Terry Fox is in my passport. That's cool. Demi Ridge in my passport. So the new passport has other parts of Canadian history that we're going to be paying attention to, give them some time, so they get a chance.
Does that make me liberal?
We do it every year. Yes, it does. You're a cuck now. Congratulations, way to cuck yourself in the conservative world. So this is what we do every year. But he has turned this into like legitimate fuel where they want both sides to fight, which is why I wrote that piece. Why are we fighting for these two dorks? Why are we fighting each other over this whole thing? To me, a passport's a piece of paper. It's not a piece of fucking Canadian history. Canadian history is Terry Fox. It's not a picture of Terry Fox in a booklet. That's all. That's all it is. And it's not like we're deleting Terry Fox, which he said. We're putting a new picture in there. In fact, a series of them. And the only thing that really matters is the picture and the little number and the barcode, which will let you fly anywhere. And all we're doing is paying homage to different parts of this country. However, dude, everyone does it. The left does it too. Trudeau does it, and his group do it. When we talk about Bill C-18 and Bill C-11, they call us all fascists, and then they tell you you're a Nazi, and then they tell you you're not interested in protecting Canadian content. That is such bullshit. It is unbelievable. They both do it. They both do it. It is not, but I mean, dude, this is flat out gaslighting. And when it came to what he said about actual fucking issues in Alberta, let me play these for you. This is unbelievable. Like, these are the leaders that we have. Trudeau and this yak. Like, watch this. You know, he looks like such a little shit, doesn't he?
Oh my God. I try not to say it.
Canadians are broke, Mr. Speaker. And I'll tell you what woke means.
So here he goes in on woke being broke. So he's just a fucking cliche in a shitty suit.
I'll tell you what woke means in practice. His government approved dumping millions of liters of raw sewage into the St. Lawrence River. That's what woke means. Woke means charging a single mom higher costs to drive to work and feed her kids while the Prime Minister jets around using Canadian tax dollars pumping emissions into our atmosphere.
By the way, Pierre flew, and spent more on travel this year than Trudeau did in the last 2 years, but whatever.
That is the woke hypocrisy across the way. And if he's got the guts to tell the truth, will he tell us how much will carbon tax 2 cost Canadians?
The Honourable Minister for Family.
Mr. Speaker, what's exceptionally disappointing from the Leader of the Opposition is that at a time when families in Alberta are experiencing some of the worst wildfires in their history, he's...
Did you hear that?
Oh my God.
Started by your government. Let's listen to that again. This is the Leader of the Opposition telling the world in question period, which he knows goes out on television, that the Liberals started the wildfires in Alberta. So what do you think conservatives in Alberta who love this guy are going to think?
Their history. He's...
Can you fucking believe that shit?
What is that?
An asshole being an asshole. A destructive asshole who doesn't give a fuck about your province. That's the guy. There you go. Started by someone else. Started by my enemy. That's who started the fire.
Well,
and he caused AIDS.
Let's pick a party here. Was it the NDP or was it the Liberals? Because I heard it was Notley.
Dude, and the circle continues. This is why it's important for guys like you and me to get together, to bridge the gap, to talk about how they're all assholes.
You know, the
more of them.
The longer we do this, it's funny because I know sometimes people do joke and they're like, hey, I get my news from the locker room, or I get my news from the Dean Blundell podcast, or like, I know people are they're trying to be funny, but I think people are looking for alternative sources of information now more and more, because I think everyone is questioning everything now. And that that's a byproduct of the world that we live in right now that I don't think is a horrible thing that's happening. I've stressed this, and I'm glad you're sort of on board now.
You kind of came closer to my side, if we're being honest.
I think you have to make sure you're hearing what other people are saying. Kareem has been saying it for years. I've been saying it for years. And again, you can blame me for playing the middle or accuse me of some sort of strategy. I don't know what the hell that is, but I truly believe that. I learn things from people I don't necessarily agree with, and I learn things from people I agree with, right? And sometimes I'm just looking for a reason why somebody thinks the way they do. And sometimes just a conversation, you go, oh, fuck, we have more in common than I thought we did, right? And I got to thank you, because I've had a better understanding of the world that we live in because I've been a part of this podcast, because of the guests you've brought on. I tease you, but I've seen you struggle with some of the content. You're coming at it from a very different perspective than I am. You're building a business right now, so you're being pulled in a lot of different directions behind the scenes and on this podcast. And so I see the struggles you go through with the content providers that come and go, and I see the struggles you go through with the possibility of money or no money, or you know what I mean? I get that, and that's been interesting, because you've sort of opened up the curtains a little bit on that side of things for me. For me, I'm a passenger on this thing. And I'm a bystander. And man, I've got to start taking this more seriously than I do, from the perspective of how important it is to have honest conversations nowadays. And I think that now that the heat's off, that the oven's been turned down a little bit on some of these issues, and we can open up the door on some of them and allow some alternative opinions in, that's going to be good. That's going to be good for everybody, because it's what we need right now.
It's not enough to just say we hate people. It's not enough to say we don't like what they're saying. It's not enough to say we don't want what they're saying around us. It doesn't matter. You want to be in the world, you want to live in the world, you got to live and be around people and figure out a way to do it constructively, right? I was wrong. I was wrong with the brush that I painted large portions of society with. I still hold certain things to be incredibly true, that we're here for one purpose, to be of good character and act for the common good. Is it really an act for the common good if people show up to a fucking rally in a parking lot at a hardware store and everybody just decides to say that they're persona non grata? Nope. It ain't. So my values, I wasn't living with. I when I say I did and I didn't, but you know what? Fuck, it's just wall building, right?
You make mistakes, right? Because of what you're dealing with.
But what was true yesterday, and that might not be true today. Like I look at the convoy, right? The convoy is not a protest. That was not just a protest. That was an occupation. That was a takeover of a city. That was an embarrassment. That was a shutdown of different border crossings. It was the destruction of billions in the economy, job losses, kids in danger, people who live downtown having to go through major mental and emotional upheaval, all that stuff. That's different. People showing up in a group to voice their displeasure, that is a fucking right in this country. That is your right.
And you know what, Dean? We have
Whether
a lot
you agree
of things
with them or not.
Yeah. And we have a lot of things on our plate right now that I think are going to be a lot bigger conversations now that we've kind of gotten, we're moving past COVID a little bit. Right. And some of those things might seem trivial right now, but I'll give you a couple of examples of things that I'm struggling with right now. And they're kind of morality issues, right? Like we have a homeless situation and like a mental health situation in this country. And I see it daily. I was at my pub, our little watering hole that my wife and I go to almost like every week now. And a guy was literally, because it was windy out, was tucked into the corner of the building at the window, right in front of us, 5 feet away, trying to light his crack pipe. And I'm like, oh man, that is crazy to see that. I just moved into the city. I got here in November. And you know what? I've got a friend, Indian Owls, listening to us right now. I just saw a post from Indian Owls, sent me a video of a vehicle driving through Hastings in Vancouver, where it's just tent city. And that we talked the other day about this guy that he lost his brother to an overdose of fentanyl and said, fuck it, I'm going to start selling clean drugs, and got arrested. I keep going back and forth on these issues. Like, I have this mindset where you got to do something to get them off the drugs. So why would you give them drugs that are clean? It doesn't make any sense. But then hold on, that hasn't been working. What we're doing hasn't been working, right? Like, there's just so many of these things that keep. We had a conversation this morning. I don't know what to do with this woman. She's on OnlyFans. She's a teacher. She's doing sexual content on OnlyFans. Yes, under a different name. She's in BC. They found her out.
What's her name? Let me Google her. Just check. Let me just Google her.
I can't remember her name. Just type in OnlyFans BC teacher. She makes $50,000 a year. She cannot live on the island. She can't live on the island. She's got a kid, and they're going to fire her because she was trying to make a few extra bucks by putting up some sexy pictures. Yeah. But I understand.
She's an entrepreneur.
She's a teacher, though. Should you allow your teachers to do that? I don't know.
Why not? Who cares?
Really? Okay, but I'm also at that point, right? Like, there's so many of these things.
I want to know. That's the thing, is that's a great question. I'd love to get her on, and then I'd love to get someone from the teachers union on to go, you got a problem with TNA? You got a problem with booty? You got a problem with boobies? Pay her more. Pay her more. Pay our teachers more. And you've said this 1,000 times. I agree with you. Pay teachers all the fucking money so that they don't have to do that. But if they want to do that and they want to feel dangerous, get a subscription from a couple of guys overseas who love feet and ass. Great. Good. They should be 100% allowed to do it.
But the point I'm trying to make is there's so many things right now that we don't discuss. We just shut the door on because they're harder conversations to have.
Well, then your brain has to do work, right? Like, that's what most people are afraid of.
So I like this new me. I understand where we were, and I'm not blaming you, and I'm not even saying that you did anything wrong. I'm saying I think you went through what you needed to get through to get to where we are right now.
Didn't we all, though? Like,
everybody did.
And we'll end there.
I'm just more evolved than you.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're a way better person than me. We've established that. But over the past 3 years, no, it is. Over the past 3 years, we've all given shit away, right? We've all given our emotions away. We've given our shame away. We've given our pride away because we were scared. Everybody was scared, frightened, worried about our health, our family's health, what this person's saying, what that party's saying, watching, our leaders weaponize it against us to try and start a culture war, which they eventually did. So we all had to go through our fucking whatever that was to try and figure out whatever this is.
Yeah.
And we all made mistakes. We all got over our skis. Some of us got busy building businesses and making bank. Some of you just turtled. Some of us still are struggling. I mean, there's so many people struggling. That's what I'm here for now. We should all be fucking here for it, right? Yeah. Hey, listen, we get the last 3 years were weird. Let's get back to us getting along together and hating them together. Hating the people that put us in that position. Not even hating, but together.
Just trying to point out what it is that we disagree with and why, and then being able to have a conversation with it, right? Like Linda would have a problem with, with her daughter's teacher being on OnlyFans. I gotta admit, if a 13-year-old daughter, she's not 13 anymore, and she's in grade 7 or 8, comes home and says, Miss Stacy's on OnlyFans.
Yeah, she is. You know what you're doing as a dad when you find out your daughter's smoke show?
I would never go and
That
look
is
at that.
such a lie.
You take that back. I can't believe that you would even assume that of me.
Such a load.
That is
You would
so
be sitting
awful.
at the doorstep of her subscription page with a fucking credit card going, oh yeah, here we go. I'm going to see Mrs. Smickle Fritz in the nude, finally. Oh my God. I drop my kid off every day and stare at her as she comes out and takes the kids in the room. Like, this is going to be incredible. Dude, you know that you would have. Like, there are women out there who would hear about that. They'd have an issue with it. The men would be like, well, let me go have a look and do a little research and figure it out. Dude, there was a weatherman.
Dudes are making a lot of money on OnlyFans.
There's a story about a gay weatherman on OnlyFans who lost his job because he was in New York at a big television station, and they found out he did hardcore gay porn on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And so they fired him. Yeah. And he's like, I don't get it.
Some of it's pretty innocent. Like Aaron Carter used to just play guitar with his cock out, right? Like
on OnlyFans, did he really?
That's like Tuesday night for me. Still trying to play Dust in the Wind.
Pantsless, like Wood, sitting on the end of the bed with a massive boner. That's a lot of fun.
Hold on, you just made a fucking Wood reference. Nice.
I love Wood. Yeah, that's right. Dude, one of the greatest memes ever, and the guy died before he could cash in on his own fucking image.
It's so sad.
Right?
Yeah, the world's not fair sometimes.
No, it isn't. Anyway, great to see you. Lochlin Cross 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton, host of The Locker Room. Tremendous morning show on a rock and roll radio station in Edmonton. Go to 957cruisefm.ca. Have them a listen every single morning. Doesn't matter where you are. It's the best in the country. So
thank you, sir.
You have my stamp of approval. At Lochlin Cross on Twitter is where you can find him. Do you have anything to promo? Anything you want to add before we let you take off and keep drinking?
Tomorrow we're giving away cornstalk tickets.
What?
It's a festival in Tabor.
Oh, it's a corn festival in Tabor. They celebrate.
No,
corn
it's a music festival in Tabor that they're calling Cornstalk. I don't even know who's on the bill. It's like Honeymoon Suite and.
All right, so you have nothing to promote then.
That is huge. What are you talking about? You want to hear how you're going to win?
No.
Okay, so we are going to we're going to write a letter on Jimmy's head, and then you have to guess what letter we put on his head for a chance to qualify to win the tickets.
How did I get fired, and how are you still employed?
Okay, Jimmy's okay with it because we're going to use the erasable marker.
Yeah,
for
the
at least
people
a couple
we were
of days.
mocking were okay with it too. You guys are fucked. I wish I was on your radio station for like 12 minutes.
You are just about every other day.
That's true, actually. No, but I meant like I wish I had a shift, just a daily shift where I could come in for an hour and watch you guys do your thing.
Oh, that might happen. Just hang in there.
You work
Sometimes
for 25
it's a waiting game.
I'm out. I don't want to do it. Lochlin Cross. Follow him on Twitter at Lochlin Cross 957 cruisefm.ca. Cornstalk tickets tomorrow morning. All right.
Thank you.
Talk to you tomorrow.
We'll see you
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
You got it, brother.
All right.
I'll talk to you.
That was a fun one today.
That was good.
As you can tell, we are not in Vegas. If there would have been a game 7, Dean and I would have been doing this show in Vegas today.
We'd be flying there right now. I scoped tickets for us last night. We'd be leaving at 3:40. Well, we would have left 2 hours ago. We'd be in the air.
Yeah.
Anyway,
good to see you,
dude,
brother.
Great to see you too. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Lochlin Cross 957 cruisefm.ca. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate you joining us. I meant what I said. Stop telling people that because you don't like them, they're not allowed to be. Fuck that. Just shut up. Keep moving. Worry about yourself. And let other people exercise their daily right to be a fucking Canadian. I had it wrong. I don't like it. Makes me uncomfortable, but does not matter. It's not what Canada's all about. If it lasts for 3 weeks, then let's get out the pepper spray, but whatever, Have a great day. Appreciate you being here. Don't forget, this is all possible because we have friends like Colin Livingston at Cantork, Canada's assembly tool experts. Dude races in the Pinty's NASCAR series with Alex Tagliani. He was in Turo last weekend. He's at Mosport this weekend. I'm going to go and spend the weekend with him, Alex Tagliani, as they race to survive. And not only is he a title sponsor of the Tagliani race team in the Pinty's NASCAR series, but Cantork is Canada's assembly tool expert. They make rugged, hard-working, beautiful torque wrenches. Canada's leading industrial tool experts, offering you the very best in sales, service, rentals, calibration, maintenance, custom fabrication of industrial torque tools in the heavy machinery industry, railroad industry, steel industry, nuclear industry. It doesn't matter if you've got a bolting solution, they have bolting issue, they have your solution, and they'll make it for you. They'll take care of it for you, and they'll spec it out for you and make sure that you have it for life. These guys are the best. And I'm not kidding you, because we actually had to do our research into this. These guys are the best fabricator of industrial torque tools in the world. They supply them to industry around the world, and they're proudly Canadian, out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Make sure you hook them up and give them a call if you've got any interest or any issue or any use, or if you're sitting there going, fuck, why do our tools always break? It's because you don't have Cantork in your corner. Go to cantork.com today. Also, we're sponsored by Gitch. Buy 3, get 1 free. Gitch, Canada's best underwear, engineered for any level of performance as well as everyday life. Available at Ed's Fine Imports. Clothing for men and boys. Go to edsfineimports.com. Right now, use promo code GITCH3. Buy 3, get 1 free. What are Gitch? Premium underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front, designed with your movement in mind. Made for all levels of performance. So you can walk, run, or sprint through your day and barely there. Super soft fabric. Going to keep you cool, too. It's moisture wicking. These are the best underwear on the planet. They're good for everything. You can go play squash. You can go play golf. You can go play basketball. Then you can sit around and they feel the same. And because your junk sits in this beautiful little treehouse pouch, everything's fresh all the time. That's right. That's why these things are engineered for you and any level of performance. edsfineimports.com. GITCH3 is your promo code. When you buy 3, you get 1 for free. And, of course, Kivlaw Defense Attorneys, top criminal defense lawyers in St. Catharines. If you're in Southern Ontario, trust me, this is your guy. Robert Kivlikin is his name. Robert at kivlaw.ca. You want to get your life back. He knows you need honest answers. If you're up against any legal issue and you have not taken care of it, or you haven't talked to somebody who's there for you, this is your guy. Anywhere in Southern Ontario, his team of top criminal defense lawyers will take care of you, whether you've been wrongfully accused or you did something and you want to make it right. That's your fella. Get in touch with him today. It's totally free of charge. Speak to a lawyer now. Go to kivlaw.ca or email Robert, the principal, Robert Kivlikin, Robert at kivlaw.ca today. Have a great day. See you on Wednesday. Huh? Yeah, we will. And then on Friday, because we have an announcement to make on Friday. And very, very, very serious addition to Crier Media will be joining us. CrierMedia.co for details. Sign up for our newsletter on the front page of Crier.co. We'll give you the information on the new edition and our new direction coming on Thursday, and then we'll announce it on the show on Friday. We're very excited for the next generation and what we are here to do for you. Crier.co. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Wednesday. Got the date wrong already. I've only said it like 4 times. I'm not much for details. Anyway, see you Wednesday. Bye.